Namaskar and welcome you all. Today's speaker is Dr. Chandana Sarma. Dr. Chandana Sarma is a professor in the Department of Anthropology, Gauhati University. Dr. Sarma has been teaching in Guwahati University for 24 years. She has also great contribution to the field of research, and our field of research, our fields of research are anthropological gerontology, health, health, nutrition. She has more than 20 research publications and has completed 3 major projects. And she has also authored book chapters in a number of books. Now, I now welcome Dr. Chandana Sharma, and it's over to you to start your lecture. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gayatri, for the introduction. And I should first uh, show my appreciation to, to Principal Dr. Ranjit Sharma, the IQAC coordinator, Dr. Pori Hiloidari, and the conveners of IKS in Indian Knowledge System, Dr. Gayatri Sharma and Jintu Thakuria, for giving me this opportunity to interact with this group. I think, as I understand, this is a certificate course on Indian knowledge systems. And just to have a background, like, is it possible to know about the composition of the group, the listeners? Is it undergraduate students or?
No, ma'am. It is for all the. It is meant for all, ma'am. For teachers also, for students also, and also for academic staffs as well. Many academic and administrative staff has also joined the program.
Okay. Thank you. But I'm sorry, I don't know who has answered because the name suggests a male, but I heard a female voice. Anyway, thank you so much for the update. See, I want to talk about, like, since this is a certificate course on Indian knowledge system and my background is anthropology, I want to make a connection between the two and try to give a anthropological perspective about how the Indian knowledge system or the knowledge of different tribal groups, not different tribal groups but specific tribal group, the Karbis I have in mind today, how this their knowledge system is actually something which is something that we can all learn from. So I will share my presentation. I Please let me know if it is visible. Is it visible?
No, ma'am, not yet. Ma'am, you need to share your screen.
What about now?
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry, something seems to be not working. Could you direct me a little? just give me 1 minute. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now I can't see the screen. I can't understand what is happening. I will just stop presenting once and then I will try to reconnect, okay? হাইডটো কৰিলে কি হ'ব? Not able to share the screen. I don't know what is happening. Is it visible to?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible now.
Okay, that's good. You can see the screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, then I'll continue. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to be wasting your time. So, but I'll start now. So, this the topic I had been given was Indian knowledge systems, anthropological perspective. So this I had looked into it from two perspectives. One is the Indian knowledge system and what this encompass, and then how I try to relate it with the Sustainable Development Goals and the anthropological aspect of it. So, true, as this course has started some time ago, I'm sure all of you are aware about what the Indian knowledge system encompass. And says it is a vast and diverse body of knowledge which includes philosophical systems, sciences, arts, and spiritual traditions that have developed in the country for over millions of years, over millions of years. And what we see that the main aspects that have been brought together in this Indian knowledge system is the interconnectedness of disciplines, how the disciplines are interconnected to one another. And the other important aspect is the all holistic approach to knowledge. Holistic meaning the entire, it's from all perspectives. And the other aspect of Indian knowledge system is the uh, what we call the ancient roots. That means they are rooted in ancient traditions, and of course, the oral and written traditions are also part of the whole thing. And if we look into the oral traditions or the written traditions which are followed by the vast majority of different populations that live in our country, because as we all know, India is a very diverse country where we have so many different cultures, so many different ethnic groups, different populations all living together. And each group has their own culture, their own traditions, their own religious belief systems. And this all together also makes us, we have this concept of unity in diversity. So we have this various belief systems all existing together, and each system has their own, not just their oral traditions, and some of them of course have also their written traditions, and they have been kind of directing the people the way they need to live or the way they are conducting themselves in their day-to-day lives. uh, and another aspect that is one which is most commonly what we call is most prominently being used nowadays is what is known as the sustainable development goals. So whatever action that we are doing or whatever endeavor that we want to take up, it is now directed by this United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which tries to address the global challenges by 2030, the aim of this sustainable development goals. So in all perspectives, we are now trying to incorporate the 17 sustainable development goals, which are kind of integrated. The goals are integrated, and they are, a vast range of topics like health to in aspects of reducing inequalities. In between, we have so many economic, social aspects, the sustainable cities, and all these things come up. So we have 17 different goals in the as a whole, and the main objective of this goal or the aim is to, it's like an universal call for action, which the aim of which is to end poverty, protect the planet, and to ensure that by 2030 all people can enjoy peace and prosperity. So we cannot uh, think of not having development. So development is something which we all require, and that is something which will always occur with changes in time. But what the sustainable goals try to tell us is that development is something which we must ensure that there will be a balance between both social, economic, as well as environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability, as we have all come to realize because of the impact of climate change, is something which is very, very important for our survival and protection of the planet as well. So we this in this course in this so what the sustainable development goal aims is to bring about a balance in the social, economic, and environmental aspects in ensuring in the process of development of any region. And coming to the anthropological perspective, that means what does anthropology really do? as anthropology is a discipline which is concerned with the study of man. Man, by man I mean human beings, and here we look at man in time and space. So what do we mean by time and space is that how the human beings have evolved over time, and how the distribution of different populations across the globe. I'm sure all of you know that human beings are the product of millions of years of evolution, that we had evolved, this whole system, we had evolved from what through the process of multicellular organisms, vertebrates, then mammals, and then finally we share close relationships with monkeys, and also our closest cousins are our apes. And after the bifurcation, the evolutionary line bifurcation from the apes, we had the hominoid or hominin evolution has taken place over this 6 million years of evolution, by which we have become humans. And in the process of becoming humans, what we see that the ecology or the environment in which we live is something which has always dictated or our adaptive mechanisms, because it is on the availability of resources, availability of the type or the kind of climate that we live in. We have to adapt to this kind of a what we call the available climate and other resources that are there in the environment in which we live. So adaptation to different ecological conditions has been the major strategy for survival. If we are unable to adapt to different ecological situations or the ecological condition in which we live, then definitely we will not be able to have, not be able to survive. And when we look at its evolution, is something which is not specific to humans alone, but it is something which is going on in all animals, as we all know that it is kind of all are evolving. But the major difference that we find in the process of evolution of humans with that of other animals is the use of culture for adaptive purposes. From an anthropological perspective, we define culture as the man-made. The most simplest definition that we can talk about is the man-made. It is as the man-made part of environment. So whatever man or humans have developed or designed to use for his survival in his environment can be defined as culture. It could range from anything, a tradition. It could become a tool that we use, the kind of material cultural things that we are using in our day-to-day lives, the type of clothes that we are wearing, the kind of belief systems that we have, the kind of social behavior which is socially or culturally prescribed. All these things fall under the concept of culture from a perspective of anthropology. Okay, so anthropology primarily has three branches, that is the biological anthropology or physical anthropology, sociocultural anthropology, and the prehistoric archaeology. And within sociocultural anthropology is a major division which is known as the linguistic anthropology. So if we look at the major branches of anthropology, we can understand that the approach to of anthropology towards any subject is something which is very holistic, and which is something which is also related to our Indian knowledge system or the sustainable development goals, where the approach to development or the approach to ensuring a good life or inclusivity of people is a very holistic one. So from that perspective, we can see that the approaches towards of an Indian knowledge system as well as the sustainable development goals is something which anthropology has for a long time been practicing. And when we look at cultures and traditions of different communities or different ethnic groups from an anthropological perspective, we also try to understand the things from an evolutionary as well as an adaptive perspective. because the traditions and the customs or the rituals or whatever belief systems that we have is not something which has emerged suddenly or something which will, which cannot, not the product of a small span of time, but a product of a continuous living in a specific condition and adapting to the different the conditions of that particular society, ecological condition. So it has both an evolutionary perspective as well as it is an indication of how the different ethnic groups have adapted to the ecology in which they are living. Okay, is it clear? Okay, so for this class, I want to look into the knowledge system of the Karbis, with the from the IKS lens, in the sense that Indian knowledge system, where will be concentrating more on the oral traditions that has been followed, because there are very few written law, written systems about the traditional traditions or the belief systems or rituals among them. Of course, now there are a lot of attempt is being made to record the different behaviors, the different directives, the different prescribed what you call cultural and ritualistic performance mechanisms, but still most of them has been passing on through the oral traditions. So here I want to look into these aspects, and we try to understand it from the perspective of what is defined as social support. Because in today's context, we understand that social support is something which is very, very important, for us, uh, because lives have become so individualistic nowadays. It is very difficult for people to survive on their own. So now, it is understood that the traditional societies, they have their mechanisms where this concept of social support has been very much ingrained into their the kind of social organization that is being followed, the kind of social integration that is generally found in their economic life or in their cultural life or in their social life, which ensures that people stay connected to one another, and also have a mechanism of social support, where in case of emergencies or in case of certain our everyday life happenings, there is a group of people who will always be there to stand with us or to be support, to help us move forward in these different crisis moments. Uh, the Karbis are, as we all know, as a major ethnic group of Assam, and primarily they live in Karbi Anglong, which is the majority Karbi dominated district of Assam. And we also find Karbi populations living in Nagaon, Moregaon, Kamrup, and Golaghat district, and some parts of Sonitpur district as well. So the Karbis are mainly divided into two types, one which is defined as the hill Karbis, and the others are known as the plain Karbis, and they are referred to as the Dumrali, and they have come to the plains in the course of their migrations and have settled down in the plain regions, especially around Kamrup, Moregaon, even in Guwahati, which was primarily a Karbi dominated area. But because of the development of the city or expanse of the city, most of the populations have been marginalized, in the sense that they are no longer the dominant population. But these were mostly Karbi villages. And the Karbi population, they come from if you look at the physical anthropological background or their affinity, we can define it as the belonging to the Indo-Mongoloid family. And from our language perspective, they come from the Tibeto-Burman language group. The Karbis, they mostly refer themselves to as the Arleng, and which they mean the men. And earlier they were referred to as Mikirs, but they are no longer referred to as Mikirs. And for a long time, the plain population referred to the Karbis as the Mikirs. And their economy is based on what is known as Jhum cultivation or shifting cultivation, or it is referred to all as Sweden. Sweden is the word which refers to Sweden Jhum cultivation. And if you maybe knowing that Jhum cultivation is something where land or a piece of land is cleared, or on a hill slope it is cleared through burning some, and then the trees and other what you call plants, they are left to dry and then burnt, and then the cultivation is carried on in these fields for two or some few years. And then after a point when the soil loses its nutrients, the people move from one place to another, and the similar process goes on, the same process of clearing the area and then cultivating in this area for some time. So the people, the villages also tend to shift when there is a shift in the cultivable land. So this their economy is based on this shifting or Jhum cultivation. So as a result of which, the villages also tend to kind of shift around their economy. And if we look at their organization, social organization, then they can be referred to as what is known as a patrilineal organization. That means their descent is traced through the male line. The property is passed on from the father to the son, and this is how even their descent or the inheritance mechanisms are controlled. This is just to give you a background about Karbi social organization. I'm sure most of you have been knowing about this also. And when we look into the social organization of the Karbis, it revolves around their main clan. You may be knowing what the clan is. The clan is a subdivision of the society where the members of a clan believed to have come down from the same ancestor, and as a result of which they consider themselves to be blood relatives. That means they are related by blood. So they are considered to be a larger group of families who belong to the same clan, and so they consider themselves as brethren. So their social organization revolves around these five clans, and these clans are the Ingti, Ingi, Terong, Teron, and Timung. And within the clans, there are a number of sub-clans. Sub-clans like ranging from 15 to even 30. So there are a number of large number of sub-clans within the broader five clans. The priestly clan. So in social hierarchy, they occupy a very high position, and the other clans, they have what we call as a military clan. That means, and then we have the people at the so there is a hierarchy in the clan system as well. And how it is important in the social organization, because their social behavior, their cultural traditions all revolve around the clan. The clan, if you look into the importance of clan, so if we look even at the cremation ground, which is referred to as thiri, each clan tend to have a separate area which is specific to each of the clans. So the clan is very important for all purposes, even whether it is in birth rituals or marriage or even in death. The clan members, it is the duty of the clan members to be part of all the functions or all the religious aspects of the clan members. So even in this cremation ground, that each clan has their own specific area. So the cremation would be carried out only in the specific area which is kept for them. And in the rules regarding marriage, clans are exogamous. We in anthropology use these terms exogamous, endogamous quite not loosely, quite frequently, because these are concepts that we are all aware of. But I will expand it a little for you. Exogamous and endogamous, primarily, if we look the literal meaning, it means that exogamous, we are supposed to marry outside of a specific clan. That means if there is the marriage is is being negotiated, then the bride or the groom has to be from two separate clans. Members of the same clan cannot marry. So the tribe is endogamous, that means you are expected to marry within the tribe, but the clans are exogamous because you people are not prescribed to marry within their own clans. And the social or political organization is also something which the Karbis, they have their own village council. They also have territorial councils, and now under the sixth schedule, they are governed by their own territorial, the customary laws, and their village headmen. And for each high word, there is a specific, person who's assigned with them. They have their own courts. They have on the village council, and the village headman, who is known as who's referred to as the Sarte. And here, this it is also hereditary. That means the son of a Sarte will become the next Sarte. And then village council is composed of all people from each household. So it is a very inclusive kind of a arrangement where all people have the same amount of say in the village council, irrespective of their social or economic background. And when we talk about the marriage rules, they are mostly preferring the monogamous marriage. Of course, there is polygamy and polygyny is not followed, but even if they, polygamy is maybe practiced, but generally not followed. But what is prescribed in their marriage, or the preferential type of marriage, is what is known as cross-cousin marriage. This is again, I will maybe have to tell you about what cross-cousin marriage and parallel cousin marriage means. There are two types of cousins that we have. One which is called a cross-cousin, that means mother's brother's daughter is a person's cross-cousin, and a father's sister's daughter is also a cross-cousin. And but mothers, their parallel cousins are supposed to be, are equated with as being siblings, because a mother in a woman in a Kabi marriage does not change the clan after marriage. So the father's clan and the mother's clan remains different. So the son belongs to the father's clan. So in marriage, he has to look for the first preference that is given is to the mother's brother's daughter. So that way, the clan connections and the clan support systems are ensured. That means even when in the two clans, the two separate they will have their relationship in such a way that they can in times of crisis, they will stand by each other and support each other. So these are mechanisms through which this support systems are ensured within the social organization. And in case of the marriage, there are mainly the two types of marriage. Of course, nowadays we see other types of marriages as well, but mainly we have two types of marriages, which is the in traditional system, which is known as the Akejoy and the Akemen. One which is marriage type without the payment of any bride price, and the other is marriage by service. In the different ways by which people can acquire mates in traditional societies, there are a wide number of mechanisms, like marriage by elopement, marriage by service, marriage by what you call mutual consent. Then another important thing that we see in the Karbi society is, like, unlike modern societies or some of the societies which have the mechanism of paying dowry, here the males have to make a payment towards the bride, which is known as the bride price. So in case of marriage by Ekejoy, that means the marriage has taken place without them having to pay the bride price. So the marriage by service is where the before the marriage is conducted, the kind of negotiation takes place where specific terms are laid down before the groom. That means you have to serve the people, the family into which you are getting married, and these are the things that you have to do. And after that, after their contract period is over, the marriage is performed. So here, and these people, the groom, they continue to stay in the house of the bride during the service period, and then it also is another mechanism whereby the social support for people are ensured. Because what has been seen is that if a couple has only one daughter, or then they prefer the type of marriage which is known as akemen. That means marriage by service, where the the cultivation, their social aspects, the traditions that the male persons have to follow is being performed by the son-in-law. And towards the old age of the parents, that is his in-laws, the son-in-law becomes responsible. That means the daughters, there is this concept of not leaving older people, especially parents, aging parents behind, is not there. So this helps this is one way of ensuring that the social support for elder people remain. So this is another system which is and which ensures both their economic support as well as their social support towards the family to which they get married. And if it is very interesting to also know that the terminology that is used, the way the people refer to different kinships, this is very related to the marriage system, because the mother's brother, or what we known as the maternal uncle, and the mothers, and the father-in-law, they have a similar kind of a terminology, which kind of, because if a son marries his mother's brother's daughter, then the maternal uncle and the reference to him as a father-in-law is similar, which talks about, but this is not the same in case of the father's sorry, the mother's sister. Okay, so this is because they are referred to as now parallel cousins. So this kinship terminology is linked to their how their marriage systems operate, and this is one also mechanism whereby the social support is found. So when you look into the social support, family, as we all know, is the main source of support even for a. Okay, before I go into that, I want talk about this. If you may have noticed, this is the picture of my slide, where it is like a bamboo structure with a bird on top, and there are four smaller branches emerging out of the main branch. This is actually a symbol of the Karbi tribe. This is called as the Jambili Athon, where this is a wooden structure. And this construction is based on legends, where the bird on top is what is known as the racket-tailed drongo. And this is also depicting of the philosophy of life, death, and social institutions and their religious practices. And this is also taken as a symbol of the main clans which are found in the Karbi social organization. So the main clan, and we have four branches sticking out, and this is used in all of their ritual practices, like the death rituals, any religious festivals, so that it is taken as as a signature of their what do you call of the community. And when we look, I was uh, talking about the social support. So as we see that the family is the main source of support, and if there is, a family, if there is a person who doesn't have a surviving family, then what we find that the clan members, they take responsibility of the person. So all the support that is necessary, if the person is able to fend for himself, then he can do his own sustenance. But if he is no longer able, then the clan members will take responsibility, and they will provide for his not just economic needs, but also his social and other cultural aspects are also supported by the clan members. And the arrangements of living, when people, and they, since most of the, they have a patrilineal uh, mechanism of descent, so the living arrangement is organized around their with the parents and their children. But as the adult children gets married, they may leave the ancestral home, but at least one adult child along with his family will will remain with the aging parents or their ancestral homes. And this is something which is done out of filial piety. That means it is a kind of a responsibility that the child has towards the parents. And this, we have the rule which is known as the rule of primogeniture. Primogeniture means that the adult son, the eldest son, will generally continue to live with the aging parent or in their ancestral home, and the other sons, they can continue to live with their in their ancestral home, but sometime, but they can also move out if necessary, if they want to. And the rules of inheritance of parental property are something which also ensures support, because there are various theories about how social support is ensured, and one of the mechanisms of ensuring social support is the rules of inheritance. And there are very one theory by Christian Freiway, which says that the rules of inheritance of parental property is one, like if the son who continues to live with the um, uh, in their ancestral home, they will also tend to inherit the land that the father has, because the inheritance mechanism is something which is related, as long as the person is alive, the person remains in the land or the property remains in his name. So any cultivation or any other work that is being done on the land is always it is in the name of the person who owns it. So after his death only it is transferred to the next to his son. So this are also maybe mechanisms whereby the social support of elder persons are ensured within the society. And when there are unmarried brothers and sisters, these people, sometimes someone may not have um, um, married, and these unmarried people, they remain attached to the family of the brother, and they will also have a share in the inheritance of the land. But when they remain attached to the family of one of the brother, so the brother's family and their children who look after the unmarried brother or sister, they will inherit the land which was designated for the specific brother or the sister. So it is uh, another way where we can see that even for people who do not have families, that it is and the family in direct immediate family who is supposed to take care of the person. And if there is no such person, then definitely the clan members will come forward to take the to support the individual. So all the rituals that are connected with birth, death, or any other crisis like marriage, they are all the clan members and community. They play a very crucial role. To cite a very example is like supposing a death takes place in the family, then what happens? The soon after the news is given to all members, then the all clan members and community members would come to the house of the deceased, and some of the clan members would go to the cremation ground to prepare the land for the cremation. And once that is ready, they will come back home, and here the deceased person is given a ritual bath, and one of the elderly women of the uh, clan would also make ritualistic arrangements for feeding the dead person for the last time. That is a ritualist feeding. And after this is done, the clan members and the other community members would carry the deceased to the house, to the cremation ground, and the cremation would take place. So after they come back from the cremation ground, before entering the house, so one of the clan members would also be there to throw purification water on the people who had come back from the cremation ground. Purification water is primarily basil, the leaf water, and it's sprinkled on the people so that they can enter the household. But this is not what I was talking, trying to specify, because this is something which we all see in almost all death rituals that we followed, even in urban context. But what is important there, or what is the thing that I was trying to emphasize here, is that when the person dies, the family members uh, uh, are not left on their own during the time of their this yes, crisis that they are facing. The youth of the village and the other clan members, they would keep vigil on in the house of the deceased person, all through the night. There would be different kinds of ritualistic singing on, and other types of mechanisms whereby they keep themselves awake, telling of stories, joke, and making different types of jokes, so that they keep awake, and they only go to sleep after some family member had risen from their sleep. That means after, when one wakes up, only after one wakes up, the people who had come to keep vigil during the night would go to sleep. So this is something which is very, very important, in the sense that this is one mechanism whereby the people, they are, this is an a mechanism of ensuring social support for the people who have lost one of their family members. So these marriages, rules of marriage, or the rules of residence that we find, and how the elderly people continue to be part of both the village administration or the customary codes, or in the social customs. Like we find that elderly people are part of the village council, or even in the different ritual performances. This ensures both social support as well as social inclusion and participation. Because if we look at the uh, elderly in urban context, what do we find? That mostly because of a limitation in their kind of environment that they live in, the inclusion into different aspects sometimes become very, very limited. But in this ecological context, where the people, even when they become old, they continue to be part of their both administrative, cultural, or legal aspects, whereby the aspect of social inclusion and participation is very much maintained within the community. Uh, so they do not feel isolated, or the aspect of social integration has not to be looked into from a independent perspective. It is all ingrained into their social organization, or into their structure. And other aspect that Sustainable Development Goal had talked about is the environmental sustainability. And when we look at the Karbi traditional society, then we find that their lifestyle or the kind of traditions and cultures they follow is something which is very much dictated or very much determined by the ecology in which they are living. Because to survive in a specific ecological situation, we have to derive or depend on the resources that are available within the ecology. And whether it is June cultivation or the kind of what we call as the life or the livelihood or their day-to-day activities that they are performing, all are dependent on their or the ecology in which they live. The mechanism of shifting from one cultivable land to another in the hills allows them allows the soil to be regain their nutrients. And then because the concept of exploitation that we see in modern context is something which was not there, because they are still living as a part of the ecology, not apart from ecology. Because now in urban context or in most of the economic conditions, what we are doing is extracting so much from the economy that the normal process of regeneration, we are not allowing for the normal process of regeneration. But in June cultivation or shifting cultivation, this mechanism of allowing the soil to regain the nutrient is ingrained into the system. So when they move from one place to another for cultivation, the soil which has been used for a few years can regain through their own mechanism of, the nutrients can be regained. So this helps them to, of course, um, uh, the kind of cultivation that they do for paying, the food that they derive from this also is, significant in the sense that they will allow, when they move from one place to another, they can also carry on the same kind of cultivations that they had been doing in the previous land resources also. But and have a specific route in which they will be shifting. And when there is shifting, the whole village also tend to shift a little, shift from their towards to be closer to their next cultivable land. So their house types and other things also have to be in a way where, that they can be easily moved. So their basic requirements that we find among the people are also very, very simple, where they have the very basic needs taken care of within the household. So the people move, and the food that they are eating, the food that they mostly eat are things which are available in their own ecological context, and the resources or the food that they have produced through their cultivation. And they have different mechanisms of also their food production, that means food preparation, and which are simple, like food fermentations, then food, they preserve food through different smoking techniques, and where we find that both or most the nutrients of the food are retained. So they have very simple but nutritious methods of cooking, and which ensures a good nutritional status for them, because they are dependent on a now diverse type of food, both plant-based food, animal food, carbohydrates, and protein sources also, which helps them to maintain a good nutritional level. Uh, because of their close connections with the ecology and understanding of the and knowledge about the available resources, plant-based resources, as well as animal resources within the um, area in which they live, they also have a very well developed ethnomedical practice. That means they, for different types of diseases that come from their own ecology. They have their own ethnomedical practices whereby they can find cures for the different types of ailments. They also have a large, belief system of both malevolent and benevolent spirits, where also methods of propitiation of the spirits, which are part of their ethnomedical practice, is also seen. But uh, leaving that apart, but if we look at only the plant-based resource ethnomedical practices, then we see that their knowledge of the medicinal plants is something which is admirable, that they know their ecology and they are using these mechanisms for their survival. Similarly, their material culture, that means the way they use different kinds of household items, the construction of their houses, all are derived from their um, ecology. But what is most significant about the use of resources amongst us traditional communities is that there is never exploitation. Resources are used, but their resources are also sustained. It is not, there are different rules which says that you are able to use specific resources within specific time periods or within certain time of the year, and there are certain times of the year when you're not supposed to use those things because they might be in a process of reproduction, or they might be they should be allowed to grow to their full potential. So these aspects also tell us about their how they are their own, the knowledge of the ecology in which they live has allowed them to follow up method where they are ensuring sustainability of their own resources, whether it is land, whether it is their plant resources, or whether it is the different kind of water resource or animal resource. These things are ingrained into their understanding. And then they are mostly really the animistic is that they believe that life exists in different the objects that they are using in their day-to-day lives. It could be plants or it could be other household items also. So as a result, this is because they have their close connections with nature, and they have immense respect for the forces which are or which can occur on their own. So the festivals, rituals that we find among them, they are all, they pertain to the propitiation of the natural forces. The natural forces like the climate, thunder. It could be even the resources that they have. So all natural forces that we, find, they believe that they have to propitiate them in the sense that they will not uh, harm them in return. So their propitiation mechanisms are always not just for individuals, but at a communal level. That means it could be performed either at the village level or at the territorial level, or where all members of the group participate to propitiating these forces so that they are protected from these different for natural calamities. So there are a number of territorial deities which are used for sometimes at the village level, and sometimes at a bigger region, and where they appease the deities for preventing or for protecting themselves from natural calamities. It could be diseases, as well as the well-being of the people, or also to ensure that they have a good farming season. So it what I'm trying to say here is that the people, they have a very close connection with the nature or the ecology in which they live. So they are living in a situation where they are dependent on the ecology for their survival, but they are not exploiting the ecology just for their consumption, but they are also having through these different um, rules or the belief systems where the need for propitiating the natural forces exist, which actually is a mechanism of social control over the people so that they do not uh, what we call exploit the resources. So this in a way is a mechanism of enhance ensuring sustainability of the resources that are available in the area. So if I have given the names of a few festivals, different ritualistic rituals which are known as the Rongkar, and we find that these are also associated with, say, for example, the beginning of the June cultivation or the prevention of natural calamities or ethnic violence, etc. And also from protection from different diseases like epidemics that may have occurred, and also protection from wild animals. So that is, they are having a belief system where it is that we exist in nature along with other both other animals as well as other plant species, and we are dependent on them for our survival. So this system, it is a very what it is very what we call as a sustainable means of survival, sustenance. And this is not directly connected with the social support or any other thing, but I just wanted to make this known to you, because when we are talking about the Indian knowledge system, but we have in among the Karbis, which are believed to be a very marginalized or a undeveloped what we call ethnic group from the perspective of a modern lens. But when we look at their existing knowledge, we find that they have a very well developed number system, and they have how they can calculate their terms for arithmetic, or how they can calculate and what specific words to depict numbers in their own language. So I had just given some of the how the numbers are, what you call, what are the words used for different numbers. So they use it as the basic unit is referred to as 10, and all other calculations they use it in their day-to-day life for purchase of things, for exchange of things, for valuations, all these purposes. And they have their own independent system. So these are the isi, hinik, etomde, referred to as the numbers. And one means, one is referred to as isi, two is hini, and similarly they can up to go even supposing you say isi suri isi, that means 1000, or faro isi means 100, or if we say flea ec, that means 400. Okay, so this is how they go, and this number system they have very well developed, and how they through their purchase for their everyday purchases, how they connect. And there are different mechanisms where the um, they changed the nomenclatures also to some extent, to have a meaning, and but this can be very well understood. It's very clear, very clearly. So it talks about how well developed their system was. Okay, so I think I have almost come to the end of my lecture. I don't know how much you'll have been able to keep pace or understand, but my conclusion from the understanding or the look into the uh, different aspects of Karbi culture, what we see that what the Sustainable Development Goals or the concepts that WHO, World Health Organization, is promoting, or the United Nations suggestions for development are being put forward, they are having these aspects. That is, first is inclusivity. That means all people should be part of the development process, irrespective of their age, irrespective of their ability, irrespective of their socioeconomic backgrounds. This is what inclusivity means. And sustainability. Sustainability means that we are not exploiting or using the resources that we have to the full capacity, but also retain them in a way where they can be regenerated and also they can be used by future generations as well. And the third aspect is equal participation. That means all persons should have an opportunity for participation in all aspects. But if we look at the simple traditional Karbi way of life, we find that these features of inclusivity, sustainability, and participation are all ingrained into their social organization, their economic life, their religious belief systems, and this shows how even at without having any understanding of the requirements of current situation, these had been followed by this traditional Karbi population for ages. These things are very well ingrained into their system, so the people have been following these aspects in their social life, in their cultural life, in their religious life for very long period of time. And the other aspect of ecological preservation, conservation, so these are also very much part of their different rules, which the we can, in anthropological terms, they are defined as rules of prescribed behavior or rules of prohibition. Prohibition means when you are asked not to do a specific type of activity during a specific time of the day or time of the year or in a specific season, or you are not supposed to eat certain things at specific times. So these are kind of rules which say which are prohibitory, but they are actually in the long run mechanisms of preservation and conservation. And prescribed behavior is when you're asked to follow specific behavior. That means you have to eat this thing at this time of the year, or you are supposed to cut this tree only during this time. You are asked to plant trees at specific times of the year. So all these things are all directed at towards ecological preservation and conservation. So we, as members of modern societies, as we call ourselves, actually can learn a lot from this traditional knowledge system. Especially my emphasis is on social support and sustainability, because my area of research being anthropological gerontology, I tend to look at things more from elderly perspective mostly. So for us, it is important that we learn some of these things from these traditional societies and maybe incorporate them into our aspects of making our uh, mm, uh, members of our society inclusive, as well as have mechanisms of sustainable development and also ensure equal participation. With that, I conclude. Thank you so much for a patient hearing. And if there are any questions or anything, then I would definitely like to. Thank you. If has anyone
It's a
given
question
anything on
from a
that?
participant.
Any?
If there is any question, participants may ask questions to Madam. I think there is no questions from the participants. So now,
I
vote of thanks. It has been such an honor to listen to this wonderful lecture. I, on behalf of IKS Center Handique Girls College, extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Chandana Sarma. It was really an enlightening lecture, focusing on the knowledge systems of Karbi tribe of Assam. I also thank the participants for joining this course, as we have almost reaching the last phase of this course. I therefore congratulate all the participants and for their enthusiasm. Thank you, Dr. Chandana Sarma, for her wonderful lecture. Thank you.
thank you. There were a few suggestions. Okay, I think if anyone wants to have any discussion, we can do it later on also. Or if you want, I can give my mail ID. If you want, you can communicate there.